SMT Nation, we back. Nation, this article from Fierce Wireless, Joe Madden, the author, I read the entire thing. I looked at the details, and man, it's a pretty interesting write-up. First of all, entertaining. There's a little bit of comedy relief in it at the end, but more so the forward-looking nature of the article. It's one of the things that we like to do here on the channel. Typically, I save these types of videos for Patreon and the YouTube members, but I think it's worthy of some shine, on the YouTube channel for all folks to kind of take a look at. And that's the return on investment. You get these carriers dumping billions of dollars into their networks annually, and they need a return on that invested capital. 5G has been a heavy investment, right? Tens of billions of dollars spent on multiple spectrum auctions, tens of billions of dollars spent on infrastructure access like fiber optic cables, radios, antennas, and the labor it takes to build it, right? So where's the relief? When do the carriers get that return? It's a good topic. B's gonna love this. All right, guys, let's discuss it here in this video. The article will be linked for you in the description, and ways to support the SMT YouTube channel you can find there as well. Okay, so the analyst Joe Madden, who's contributing to this article, he's been tracking this for a while. The cost per gig in mobile networks, and by cost, you look at it from like the cost to the consumer, like what they have to pay versus what the cost to produce it or distribute it is, right? So what does it cost the customer, right? 2G, 3G, 4G, and now going into 5G, the costs have been going down for the consumer based on usage. Really what's been happening, the cost is like the same. The customer is using more gigs of data, therefore the cost per gig goes down, but the bill is the same, right? Like nobody's bill is cheaper. In fact, people's bills have gone up. They're just using more gigs. I personally don't think the cost per gig is a good way to analyze revenues. Because some customers use 10 gigs and some use 100 or whatever. And, there's the 1%ers that use more than 100 and all that stuff. But this is no doubt an important figure. You got carriers that have these heavy usage customers. You got fixed wireless access. Part of the problem there with fixed wireless access is those customers are terabyte customers. They use 500 gigs or more, 700 gigs or more, right? Home internet, right? And what's going to end up happening is the carriers are going to have to embrace the grind and densify. They're just going to have to add more tower sites to offload and split cells. There's a finite amount of midband spectrum, sub-millimeter wave. Millimeter wave is great, but has all these physics issues. C-band's great, but it's expensive and it's limited bandwidth. N41, there's only so much bandwidth. And our FCC has not put us in a good position. There's no big chunk of midband coming down the pipeline. So whether it's through, small improvements like advancements in massive MIMO and other, technologies like beamforming that improve the efficiency of the spectrum we have, the only real relief, guys, is going to be coming from adding more cell sites. That's really it, right? Unless you get these breakthroughs in radio gear, which those things will happen and it'll get better. But that's going to raise the cost to operate, adding more cell sites. That's more fiber optic circuits. That's more radio gear. That's more labor. It raises cost. And the carriers are constantly evaluating this. So within this article, he structures it very clearly. You look at the ratio of price to cost. Traditionally, in good times, it's a 6-to-1 ratio or even a 10-to-1 ratio. Price to cost, right? And that's an ARPU piece, right? The ARPU improves. ARPUs in telco are as good as they've ever been. But it's not enough. The carriers need more. The shareholders need more. That's what this is really all about, right? They're trying to find ways to be more efficient. They're trying to find ways to drive, improvements to ARPU, average revenue per user, and also just revenues to an account. Just people spending more, deeper relationships with the customers. Speculation within the article, as well as other folks around the industry, is the elimination of the unlimited data plan. I don't think people would actually care. You give them 50 gigs, you give them 40 gigs, 30 gigs. I don't think it's going to change the outcome. I don't think it's going to really help the industry, to be honest with you, unless you create a threshold of some sort that's going to force the customer to have to pay more for extra premium data, quote unquote. I don't know. Getting rid of unlimited plans, I don't know if that necessarily fixes the problem. I think what these carriers have to understand is they need new use cases for customers to improve or deepen their relationship with these carriers. And that includes business and enterprise. And that includes specific applications. I think articles like this miss the point. A customer will reduce their data demand. They will reduce their data if the carrier is going to make them pay for a gig. And that doesn't necessarily fix their problem. They'll just use less to drop their bill. It's not going to necessarily fix the problem. There's other issues here I think that have to be discussed, and I think it's the structure of the industry. That probably needs to be evaluated. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. What's the solution? What do we need to address here? How do we find a happy medium between the carrier networks and the customer? Love to hear what you have to say on this. You're all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.